Can't believe you got me back here talking about ayahuasca.
Yay.
I'm excited. What's up, guys? Welcome to an all-new episode of Unwrapped. I'm Daria.
And I'm Toni.
And we are back here for part 2 of the ayahuasca talk. We know you guys were enjoying the conversation around ayahuasca, and we wanted to give you a little bit of a deeper dive into it and continue on Toni's explanation of her journey through spiritual growth and my opinion of it all and how I think she joined a cult that week. Okay? I'm not joking. I do think she joined a cult, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Also, we love you guys, and we love all the support that you're showing us across all platforms. If you can, go over to Patreon, subscribe. We're going to be doing extra bonus episodes every single week, as you guys have seen so far. It's been really fun for us. We enjoy it. And we get to go a little bit more personal over there, have a little bit more fun. It's a little bit of a safer environment, and we really appreciate you guys that are over there. So check us out on Patreon. All the links are below. Let's dive into part 2 of Mother Ayahuasca. How was that?
Perfect. No more ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. I call it ayahuasca. I like that.
It's a Jersey accent.
Yeah, it's a Jersey accent. Ayahuasca. Yeah. So I want to talk about a little bit more of my perspective of Toni's ayahuasca journey. I'm fully supportive. I'm here for whatever journey she wants to go through in life. I might even want to try it myself. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of intrigued. But we're going to talk about the night that I got the phone call and I thought my wife had been taken into a cult, and I'm not sure that I'm convinced she hasn't yet. I get a text from my wife. What was it? What night was it?
It was actually like 9 o'clock in the morning.
It was in the morning. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
What night was it? What day was it? I mean,
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning. So you'd been there for how long already?
I got there on Saturday.
And that was Wednesday.
Yeah, so I had 2 ceremonies already. Monday night and Tuesday night.
So she was communicating to me briefly a little bit while she was there. They kind of really encourage like no cell phones, no laptops, like shut your mind off, be present in the moment and go through the process. So I was like leaving her alone. I just wanted a little check-in and morning and night, make sure she was okay. But as she knows, I stayed up every night until she would get out of the ceremony, because your ceremonies would end at what time?
Yeah, like 3 o'clock in the morning.
So I would stay up every night if I was on the road or if I was home till 3, 4 a.m. until she got back to her phone in her room and texted me she was okay. Because the whole thing made me very nervous. Just because I wasn't there and I didn't know what was going on. So I get a text. This time, it's not at 3 a.m. It's not at 4 a.m. It's not at 5 a.m. I'm starting to freak out. I'm blowing up her phone. I'm like, are you okay? Did you get out of the ceremony? What's going on? Finally, around 9 a.m., I get a text. I think I'm dying. Okay. Imagine that. Your wife's in a different country and she sends you a text after doing plant medicine in the forest with a bunch of randoms. She thinks she's dying. Do you want to walk them through what was happening that night from your perspective? And then I'll get to the cult.
So the first 2 nights, I really didn't feel the medicine at all. The second night, Tuesday night, I did feel it because they were giving me a lot to try to make me feel it. And then they also gave me something called rape, which is a snuff that they blow up your nose to try to open your third eye and help me
feel the medicine.
Yeah. So it worked for like 5 minutes. I had the smallest, craziest thing happen, and then it was over. And I didn't feel anything the rest of the night. Which, when you don't feel the medicine and it's all night long, you're watching everyone have these like, you know, amazing nights or terrible nights, or like,
because some people are screaming, some people are dancing, singing, like there's all kinds of chaos, right?
Oh, it's and you have some live music in there too. I don't even think we said this yet. You've got the shamans that are giving blessings and screaming and hitting you and chanting and spitting on you. There's alcohol stuff, and then you have a live band in there. I think I forgot to, maybe we can get more into like exactly what the situation was, but it's very loud in there, and you're just sitting and you're just wanting something to happen so bad, and I'm crying. And I'm like, you know, just desperate for like to feel it. But so I didn't feel anything the rest of the night. I went back to my room. You sleep for like 2 hours. You have to be at yoga at 7 a.m. So I went to yoga, and you have to go because they say it connects you back with your body.
Is half of this hallucination lack of sleep and malnourishment?
Well, you are broken down, nonstop throwing up, hardly eating, like.
See, that's the
not
part that
sleeping.
Feels cult-like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but they have a reason for it.
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, I get up, I go to yoga at 7, I go to breakfast at 8, and then there's a class at 9. And I'm like, I really don't feel good. I'm exhausted. I'm nauseous. I don't feel good. I'm crawling out of my skin. I'm going to go back and take a nap. And everyone there, when you call and you book, you share a room with somebody. So they're like, it's not a hotel. They're like not even a hut, but they're like little houses. When you go in your front door, it's like 2 beds and a bathroom, but you share it with like a random person that you don't know.
Most people share. You did not share.
So I spent extra to get my own room because I thought I was being bougie. But now I understand why everyone shares a room. Because I go back at 9 a.m. Everyone else is in class. You're alone. It's a big piece of land in the jungle. So you're like isolated.
That's the part that scares me.
And I'm in my room and I lay in my bed and I fall asleep. And I like wake up and I lift my arm and my arm is just floating, disconnected in front of my body. Then I start looking around and all of a sudden trees and mushrooms and flowers beautifully colored, like are growing up out of the ground around me. And I'm like, fuck. And I like sit up and I'm like, and now I don't drink alcohol. Maybe like a couple sips of a wine. I don't get drunk.
Don't do drugs.
I've never done them in my life. Yeah. So I sit up and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how to function. I'm like looking around. I'm like, holy shit. I grab my phone. I go to text Daria. Couldn't even use my fingers. I had to use voice to text because like my fingers weren't connected to my body. And I was like, I think at first I said, I'm tripping so bad. I think is the first thing I said.
Maybe, but soon after it was, I think I'm dying.
Well, because then I think I'm going to throw up. So I get on the floor because the ground was moving and I crawl to the bathroom. And there they have like a rule where you keep your door unlocked. And like when you go to the bathroom, you always keep the bathroom unlocked because like God forbid something happens.
Right.
And it's not like a room key, like a hotel. It's like a key that you put in.
Right.
So my door is unlocked and I make sure I look to make sure it's unlocked before I go to the bathroom because I was so scared. And I get to the bathroom and I'm sitting on the floor in front of the toilet thinking I'm going to throw, I can't even function. And I look down and I'm covered in blood. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I see that, I'm like removed from my body and I'm looking down at myself and I watch myself faint, hit my head on the toilet, fall on the floor and bleed out and die. That's when I texted you, I think I'm dying, because I thought it was them showing me you're dying.
Okay, so imagine having no context, not understanding quite what the medicine or what this process is like, because I didn't know till she came home and filled me in. And now I'm getting a text from my wife, I think I'm dying, while she's thousands of miles away in Costa Rica. So I blow up her phone. Now she's not answering, okay? So I contact the resort. The people that answer the phone are at a call center in a different country, so they can't even connect me. So I'm like, you guys need to connect me directly with the resort. I need to make sure my wife is okay. I need to send someone to help her. Hours later, I get a WhatsApp. I don't even use WhatsApp, but I get a WhatsApp notification, Rhythmia Resort or whatever, and they're like, hey, just letting you know, Toni's in medical, but she's okay. Why is she in medical? What is she doing in medical? So then finally they brought her to medical. They give her phone back. So she texts me to check in at the same time that I'm like now finding out she's in medical. And I'm like, what is going on? Are you okay? And all she had to tell me was like, hey, I had a bad trip. I think I'm dehydrated. They're giving me fluids. All will be well. But she like wasn't in her right mind, obviously. So she can't communicate that. So she's like talking weird. And I'm like, now I'm asking her questions that only my wife would know, because now I'm thinking like, did they take her? Like, is she actually texting me? So I'm like, when were we married? What did I give you as our wedding gift? Like asking her weird questions that only she would know, because I was so scared. She's answering. And then I go, babe, are you in a cult? And she goes, maybe, but I think I like it. What? Who says that to their wife? Who says that with no context, with no explanation? Maybe, but I think I like it. Well, that's someone that just joined a cult. That's what they would say.
Maybe I did.
But obviously she came home. I still kind of thought she was in a cult, because for the first like 3 weeks you were home, she was in these group texts with all the other people that were there that week with her. And like, Toni's not like a phone person. She'll leave her phone for days at a time, but she was glued to that thing like this. Like, I'm like, who you talking? Allison? Who you talking? Johnny? Who you talking to? Sal? I'm like, who are these people? Who are these humans? they're my friends from Rhythmia. Oh, her voice changed too. Your voice changed when you came home. It was like enlightened Toni. And I was freaked out. Because Toni's very like matter of fact. Like, you know, what you see is what you get. She talks how she talks. And all of a sudden you were like, hi, my baby.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is my wife? What is happening? But as weeks went by, I will say the weirdness subsided and you had this like lightness about you and that you still carry to this day. Mm-hmm. And we talk about this, but like you talk about wanting to go back because you talk about getting a lot out of the experience, but you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So like going back and getting something different every time is something a lot of people do, right? They're like, reoccurring buyers. And you came back and there was a part of you, and I don't know if you want to get into it, but like a definite, obvious piece of you that you had healed.
Yeah.
That to this day, and how many months ago was that?
Like 6 now, I guess.
6 months ago?
Yeah.
To this day, I have not seen
it come back at all.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to like the first episode. We were really talking like I had been through some very traumatic experiences.
Right.
A decade worth. And I didn't want to talk about it anymore in talk therapy. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm healing from. Like talking about it more isn't doing anything for me. And it's like, what are you healing from? When you go through a traumatic experience, they say you have to talk about it and get through it. Like, what are you trying to get through? This is my own personal, and I understand everyone's different. But like for me, I'm like, the experience is the experience.
What happened, happened.
Yeah, it happened. So like I did EDMR, where like they helped me almost change the experience to a different outcome, which is great.
It's like the light therapy and they rewrite your experience, but you still know the real experience happened. So.
Right. And it's like, okay, now when I think of that night or in a whatever, I first think of the new experience. But what I didn't understand and what I learned from going there and actually learned from the class,
right?
They teach you, they like really preach this to you that the traumatic experience is not the issue. It's the belief that is put on yourself from a traumatic experience that becomes the law of your life. And you go through things from childhood. They were saying like, you know, so much of stuff that you hold on to and beliefs you have is from before you're 7 years old. Like you don't even remember the experience.
Yeah.
But you're putting these like beliefs that become the laws of your life. So what I learned from going there that I would have taken me the rest of my life to get through in talk therapy. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I didn't even know what the issue was. So on my 4th night there, which was like my real healing night, I start like throwing up after going through like a bunch of traumatic stuff. It was like terrible for a minute there.
You like relived it, right?
Over and over and over and over again until it got so much that I couldn't take it anymore.
I don't know if I could do
and
that.
I start throwing up and it's just like shame. So the night before was the self-hate. Then this was the shame. And it was like, those were 2 things that I would have never thought. But those were the beliefs that I put on myself because of experiences I've gone through.
Right.
That were controlling now my entire life.
Right.
That was like the biggest thing for me that now is like changed for me since coming home, because I used to, the simplest way to put it is I would look in the mirror before and I would pick myself apart and hate everything and be like, you are disgusting for this, you're disgusting for that. And then I would binge eat and then I would starve myself. And then I would like, you know, like what, and then say I had to lose weight, like whatever it was.
Yeah. And
then now that's never once, and you can attest to it from seeing it from your side. I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, oh my God, you're so, to the point where I hate having makeup on my face now. And I still do it because I feel like it's a society. I'm like, I look so much better without it. I feel it heavy on my skin. It feels unnatural. Like, just so many like little things but it affects my life every single day. It affects the food that I eat, because beforehand I would like starve myself all day and then, you know, eat a bunch of garbage when I got so hungry, you know, you get like ravenous and then I would hate myself for doing that. So then I would wake up the next day and not eat again.
It was a vicious, unhealthy cycle with yourself.
And I came back. So it was like my issues with food were literally healed in a matter of a second. I don't do that at all anymore. I don't talk about, we get ready to go out. Never once am I like, oh my God, I hate the way I look. Oh my God, I feel like
the one thing I like really noticed was you found peace with yourself. And it was like this instant thing from the moment you came home. It was like you were at peace with who Toni was, who she is, who she's becoming.
But not only at peace, like so
happy,
obsessed with myself. I don't even know if I've told you this before, but
you loved yourself for the first time.
Yeah. Yes. And it's never wavered. And now we're on 7 months. So I want to say two things. The first one is when I first went there, so many people that I was there with, you become very close because it's like not that many people and you're doing breakfast and lunch with them. You're going to the set, you're throwing up next to them. Like you become very, very close.
It's an intimate experience to say the least.
And all of them almost like, it's like their third time there, their fifth time there, their sixth. And I'm like, are you guys chasing a high? I didn't understand. And this was before I had my final ceremony.
Like, why are you going back?
Like, why do you keep coming back? And like, no one can give me a clear answer. But you know what? I woke up Friday morning and you wake up and everyone's walking around with the biggest smile on your face. And you're like, I can't even smile big enough for how amazing I feel right now. And everything looks so beautiful. And you're staring at everything with like such clarity and detail and like gratitude.
Right.
And then that night we had our final breath work before I left the next morning. And in breath work, I mentioned in the last video, you like actually have visions and hallucinate, like you feel like you're on the medicine all over again. And right before it ended, I see my dad's like silhouette of his face come in front of my face. And I'm like, I have to come back because that's what Mother Nature wants to tackle next.
Tony's dad passed away, by the way.
Yeah.
Right before we met.
And I mean, I think everyone to some, not everyone, but like a lot of people out there, like my dad was amazing and he was great, but there's always issues and like, you know, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I have to tackle that one next. And like, so that's why I'm like, I can't wait to go back because there's so much more to work on. And what I thought I was going there, I had no expectations really, but if I had to think of something of a reason why I was going there, it would have not been the two things I walked out of there being healed from. And I think that comes back to like, they say she's going to give you what you need, not what you want.
Well, that's so powerful too. It's like, to believe in something and to be able to have an experience that's so out of body, like you weren't really in the driver's seat. You weren't in control of what that experience was going to give you.
No.
But your belief in it and your ability to let go and trust whatever it was you were trusting, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, like you were able to let go enough to take the ride to go through this experience, which I think is really unique.
I think that there was one point where I was like really tested with that actually before I like really had this like enlightened feeling at, you know, during that fourth night. Before I got there, they say that when you're crossing over from like our world to the other world,
right,
you like go through this like fourth dimension and it's like, I thought I was dying. And when I was like going from like, they literally say like, the fourth night in the middle of ceremony.
You thought you were dying.
Yeah. And I was so scared because it's like I mentioned there's like live music. So there's like a band and a singer and it's like beating and it's drums and it's guitar and it's singing. And then you've got the shamans all walking around with like the shells. So like throwing up, screaming, throwing up,
chaos.
Yeah, like chaos around you. And I'm laying there with my eyes closed because it's so ingrained in you that you do the work when your eyes are closed. And I was like, I had a notebook with me that I wrote in and I literally wrote in tongues. You couldn't read it afterwards, but I remember writing. I was like, I'm going to get my money's worth. So I'm closing my eyes again, even though everything like whatever. So I'm laying there with my eyes closed and now I'm like crossing into this dimension, but I don't know what's happening because I hadn't experienced it yet. And I'm laying there and the music, there's like a boing, boing, like mixed with the drums. And that, it sounds insane, but picture if your eyes are closed and like just every geometric shape and light and you're spiraling. It makes me think of Mario Kart. When you're like going through like the light tunnel,
yes,
it's like too much for your brain to handle that. If I didn't focus on breathing, I didn't think I was because I was like lost in this other world. And I was so scared that I wasn't breathing and that I was going to die again at the moment that I raised, if you need help, you can raise your hand. There's like helpers in there, but everyone's on the medicine, the shamans, the helpers, every single person. So they're tripping just like you. Okay. But they're like sitting around the outside.
But they're trained and they're used to it to an extent.
They take less and they say that they need to drink the medicine to be in the same like space as you to be empathetic.
So they're like microdosing the medicine, essentially.
Yes. And they weirdly know. I want to share one other thing also about this night. They like know what you need. So I raise my hand and the girl comes over and like sits next to me and I'm laying on my mattress and I'm like, please just make sure I don't stop breathing. I'm really scared I'm going to die. And she's like, I'm right here. And she like, they know exactly what to say. And she's like touching my head. Like, so I know she's there. And I put my hand like on her somewhere because I was too scared she was going to leave and I was going to stop breathing and die. And I would open my eyes every once in a while, just real fast to make sure she was there because I couldn't feel anything from my hands. And I would open my eyes and my hand would be on her like leg, I think. And all of a sudden it would be like a skip, like in a CD or like a VHS skip. And her leg would be gone. And then it would skip again and my hand would be gone and I wouldn't be able to see anything. And I would just close back my eyes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so scary. But I literally was laying there and I was so scared. And I was like, just surrender to it. Just surrender to it. Just surrender to it. And like,
you have a crazy mind over matter thing going on. Like we talk about, like you always wanted to be on the show Naked and Afraid or like Survivor. Like that is where you excel. Like you have a very strong mental game.
Yeah.
Maybe it's from childhood or what you've been through or whatever it is. But like even in the gym, like banging out extra reps, like you're a savage. Toni has like a savage in her.
Well, it made me think about when I like gave birth to the girls. Because like, it was no, I wasn't. It was very much the same thing. It was like, just surrender to it. Just this is supposed to happen. And I just got really quiet. And like, that's what I did in that moment. And I
Toni
opened
did
my
all
eyes.
natural, by the way.
Yeah.
God bless her soul.
And I opened my eyes and I was just like, oh my God, it was the most, everything was beautiful. That was when I saw the swimmers.
So let me ask you, going through all of that and hearing it as a bystander, I'm like, holy shit, that's deep. That's a lot. That I mean, the throwing up, the scared you're going to die, the going to medical because you're dehydrated, you're not eating a lot. You have to go to all these classes. You're in this loud, crazy, chaotic room where people are screaming and moaning and throwing up, and you would do it all again.
I can't wait. I could, it's probably because I'm PMSing right now, but like I could hysterically cry over talking about it.
Because it was so impactful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Disclaimer, this is not a PSA, it's not a paid ad, nothing like that. Toni just sharing her experience, do your own research.
Yeah.
But don't want to get sued over here if someone has a
No, and you know what they really say, like when you're called to do it, if and when you're called to do it, like you will know. Don't force it for me. Like, and you know, we have the kids all the time. It just so happened they were booked to go away on a sleepaway camp for 1 week.
That's true.
So I was able to go, or else I would have not been able to go. Really,
I was traveling.
Yeah, you were working. It was like really, really meant to be. I can't wait to go back. Oh my God, I'm like, my stomach is like butterflies. My stomach just like.
Maybe I'll go back next time with you.
Yeah, we should.
We've been talking about it, and it's something that I'm open to. I don't know that I've necessarily felt called to do it yet, so I'm waiting for that feeling. But you know, maybe entering chapter 2, this phase of my life, maybe it's a good time to do a little reset and a little connecting work. I think something I could use more than anyone probably, or maybe like a lot of you, is some connecting, some grounding work. Just from being go, go, go all the time and being on the road and just not skipping a beat because life goes on and we live in a fast-paced world, and you know, being better with connecting would probably be beneficial for me. So I'm going to think about it. But we're getting to the end of our episode. Guys, if you haven't already, please go check us out on Patreon. Like, subscribe, and comment here as well. Let us know what you think about this episode, what you want to know, if we can answer more questions for you. Maybe we do a 3rd episode. Maybe it's on Patreon. Maybe it's on YouTube. I don't know. Let us know what you want and we'll chat more. But we're going to get to the funnest segment of the episode. I get to drill Toni with some hot seat questions why she puts the world's most sour candy.
All right, we can see if I can put to a test my whole talk about just surrendering and
yes, surrender to the pain of the sour candy, Toni.
I will say
be a woman of your word.
Definitely already watering. All right, tell me when you're ready to start and I will put it in my mouth.
Put it in your mouth. That's what she said. Do you have an OnlyFans?
No.
Our kids' friends thought Toni had an OnlyFans. Okay. Oh my God, this one says, are you two going to adopt a child?
Not right now.
I don't know. What's a bad habit you'd like to break?
Drinking coffee.
Most underrated fruit?
Cantaloupe.
Oh, it deserves to be underrated. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
What's your favorite horror movie? You don't like horror movies? What's my best attribute?
Your butt.
Solid. Best boardwalk in New Jersey?
I have never been to one.
You have Ocean City with me.
Oh yeah, Ocean City.
And you loved it. Celebrity crush? What's a random ick you have?
Dog hair on the floor.
Yeah, you hate that. All right, this one's gonna get saucy. I won't say her name, but it says, why did Daria and her ex break up? A. They're asking you.
Who?
My ex, starting with an A.
I don't really know. It's just a bad match. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing traumatic happened, I don't think.
Toni, was it okay when y'all started to date when Daria was away?
Yeah. Here we are.
Why do you look like twins?
Because we
are narcissists, okay? Yeah. We're obsessed with ourselves, so we found someone to marry that looks just like us. Because we're weird like that. Is that the answer you want? Did you get nervous watching me in the ring?
Yes.
Oh my God, some of these are so good.
Well, ask me because I'm sweet now.
Oh, you got to the sweet? Good job, babe. You're a savage. Favorite healthy fast food place?
Waba Grill.
I love Waba Grill.
Yeah.
Good answer. Cold plunge or cryotherapy?
I never did cryotherapy and I hate cold plunge, so
Fair.
neither.
Where did you get your wedding dress?
Karen Sabaj made it. She is in Long Island and she used to be my neighbor and our kids rode the bus together and we're friends. So that's how
so
I know
cool.
Karen. Yeah.
Who borrows whose clothes more?
Probably I borrow yours, but I feel like it's kind of equal.
It's pretty equal. You made it through, babe, and you made it to the suite. I'm pretty proud of you. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Unwrapped. I'm Daria.
And I'm Toni.
And we'll see you guys next time.